gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of our weekly real estate show. My name is Angela Olmos. If we haven't met yet, I'm a full-time realtor in the Northeast Florida area. I'm with Momentum Realty, and I'm here with my co-host, Delaney Bravo with Fiber Mortgage. How you doing, Delaney?
I am good. I am good. We got some new swag in. So I have my new shirt on. We got our new mugs. It says on the back, I designed these, but it says I turn coffee into contracts.
Oh,
So
sweet. That's legit.
I know. So hopefully this coffee will help us get some more deals. But I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's going to be a beautiful weekend, and we have some good info to share today.
Yeah, absolutely. So we want to go ahead and dive right in. If you haven't listened to our show yet, this is a show where we come together every Friday and we chat about topics that have to do with buying, selling, and investing in real estate. And, we want to provide this as a resource for you so you know the information and you know who to contact if you or anyone is in the process of buying, selling, or investing in real estate and would need any help with negotiations, finding the homes, financing the homes. I mean, we've got it all here that you could possibly need. And we have experience on this too. So we're here to help. And what I wanted to show you guys today was a blog. I'm going to go ahead and try to put this in here real quick. Let me share my screen. One sec. Let's see. This is it. Okay. Did that come through, Delaney? Can you see that?
It's loading right now. Yep, there it is.
Okay, cool. And I'm working on a new device. I'm working on my desktop, on my laptop, because my desktop is getting fixed. So bear with me if there's like a little bit of a connection lag. But anyway, so what we're looking at here is a copy of my blog, which I'll go ahead and link on the comments below. But what I wanted to share with you guys is something that was truly insightful, which is something that we all know, but we don't really take the time to fully realize that owning a home helps us build wealth over time. And most people realize this much later on in life, but if you could figure this out early, you could be in so much more of an advantageous situation. Homeownership builds wealth regardless of the income level that you might be in, regardless, really. So I thought this was pretty interesting. There's a nice graph here that kind of breaks down the different income levels and what the net worth would be for a homeowner and what it would be for a renter. And the biggest difference is that the majority of our net worth is going to come from the equity that we have in our homes. So primarily we look at our primary home as the main source of equity. But if you're in a situation where you have your primary home and then also a portfolio of real estate with rentals, then that equity and that wealth can build much faster and exponentially. So this kind of gives you an idea, based on the income levels, what the net worth would be. And the highest net worth, again, is coming from the equity of the home. A renter would not have the opportunity to have any equity because there is no equity to be had when you rent. You're not owning that asset. Your landlord is owning the asset. And you can see there's a huge difference here on this. So yes, we buy these homes to occupy the homes, to make them your home, but just remember it's also an investment that can build wealth over time. And I like to underscore over time because that's something that's required for it to grow. You can't plant a seed and expect for it to grow overnight. It's something that could take years to build. And the longer that you hold it, generally, the more equity that you build. So that's some of the differences that I wanted to highlight. And then just a quote here, homeownership has long been tied to building wealth, and for a good reason. Instead of throwing rent money out the window each month, owning a home allows you to build equity. And I would say here, equity over time. Yeah. Equity can turn into your mortgage debt into a sizable asset. So just remember that, and truly the bottom line, if you're not sure whether to keep renting or buy a home, know that owning a home, no matter how much money you make, can help build wealth. So let's connect and get started on your path to homeownership. And this can easily be done, guys. I mean, we have this thing set up for you guys to just be super easy to connect with us. I'm going to go ahead and put on my banner here my contact information. But basically, anytime you're interested in making a big purchase like a home, you want to find out, first of all, how you're going to pay for it. Okay. So you would want to get pre-qualified for a mortgage if you're taking on financing. That process is super easy. It's free. Delaney's an expert at that. So I would say get pre-qualified up front so you know what you are able to buy. And then that's where I come in. And then I sit down with you to truly analyze what's important to you and find out what it is about the location, about the type of home that you're interested in buying, your timing situation, all of that. And then we work with that to get you to where you want to be. But it truly just takes the first step for you to reach out. So we want to make this super easy for you guys. Just wanted to share that information. If you're still renting or you know anyone that is dumping money on rent, please share this with them. They could very well be in a much better situation by taking a look at owning, and we can help them get there. That's what I have.
Yes, absolutely. And there's a lot of programs if you want to buy a home. There's down payment assistance. There's a really amazing one right now that is like taking over. So just because you don't have money to put down doesn't mean you also can't stop renting. So definitely reach out to us and we can kind of get you started on it.
Absolutely.
All right. Hold on. It's asking me a question.
Yeah, and we're kind of like setting up the system as we're creating the videos. So thank you so much for bearing with us when we're trying to do all of this at the same time.
No worries. I know we have to be our own tech department too here.
Yeah, so. Our own studio director, maybe someday one.
I know. Awesome. So I'm just going to talk about appraisals really quick. So this is a hot topic and I want to talk about what is an appraisal, what is the process, and what does it do? So we're going to go over that really quickly. So if you are buying a home with cash, which obviously that's goals, but if you're buying a home with cash, then you don't need an appraisal. The appraisal is strictly for the lender, and this verifies the value of the home that you're buying. So the bank, think about this, they are lending you hundreds of thousands of dollars. So they want to make sure the asset that they're lending on is going to be the value that you're telling them. They have no proof that this house is really the value that you're paying for. So that's what the purpose of this report is. So how does it work? So we order your appraisal and you will get a link to pay for it. People say, why do I have to pay for that up front? Well, because if you put yourself in the appraiser's shoes, they are doing a bunch of research. They put together a 35-page report. They go to the property and do a full inspection, take pictures, the whole thing. So for them, as soon as they get that order, they are going to start on those things. If your contract falls through, if there's repairs that need to be done, if you can't get financed, then they still have to be paid for that report. They still did their end of the bargain. So you are going to pay up front. The thing is, we will show that receipt. So that'll come out of what you need to bring to closing. So you're not being charged twice. You would have paid for it regardless. It's just being paid up front. So that comes with Angela. She goes over that with the initial cost that you would need when going under contract on a home. So you pay for it. And then here's the deal. We cannot handpick the appraiser. Us as lenders and loan officers, talking to an appraiser is a no-no. Just because what about if I said, hey, listen, we really need the value to be this and really leave this off the report? Not that I would ever do that, but they don't know that. So it goes on to what we call an appraisal panel. So appraisers are licensed and they can join these different panels, these different companies. So when we go to the company and we order the appraisal, it goes out to basically a pool of all these people. Think about it as like Uber or, somebody needs a ride and you can claim it if you are able to do it. That's kind of how appraisals work. So an appraiser claims it and then sets up the appointment, does the appraisal, and gives it back to us. That appraisal report is going to be important. And the two things that we want to look for on it is, does the value equal or exceed the purchase price that you're paying? And did the appraiser require any repairs on the report? If there's lender required repairs, it has to be completed before you can close on the home. I can fight back on certain things, but an appraiser is not a home inspector. An appraiser is not going to dig as deep as a home inspector. So you could have items on your home inspection report and not on your appraisal. But if there's things on an appraisal, it's typically things that the loan type requires or bigger items that your inspector has already caught. So those might already be in negotiations or being repaired by the seller. So we kind of get together on that. Now, here's the last thing. What happens if an appraisal comes in low? So let's say that you're buying a house for 300 and the appraised value comes back at 290,000. So we have a $10,000 gap. The lender will not lend just like without structuring the file differently or dropping the price. So when an appraisal comes in low, you have a couple options. Number one is the seller drops the price. So you and Angela would go back to the seller and say, hey, listen, the appraisal came in low, and we want to drop the price to 290,000 to match the appraisal. And if that's best case scenario, right? Because then you're getting the house for a little bit lower. The other option, which was a lot more common during the pandemic, is you pay the difference. So you're basically paying that 10,000 at closing to cover that gap. So that's option 2. Option 3 is something a little bit more complicated. I'm not going to go fully into, but if you're putting 20% down and you're assuming the house is 300 before you get the appraisal back, then you are loaning 80% of the value of that home. You're putting 20% down. But if that appraised value comes in at 290, then your loan to your value is no longer 80%. It'll be like 82%. So the only difference on conventional is if we do that now, because you're not at the 80%, you will require PMI, mortgage insurance. So you don't have to necessarily say, sorry, we can't close, but just knowing, adjusting those things, you now will have to add mortgage insurance. So there are ways around it. I just wanted to break that down. So that's kind of the appraisal process. We order it, it comes back, and then we game plan. If it's low, we do any repairs. So it is something that I completely handle. I walk you through it. It's not something you need to know everything about, but these are some of the most asked questions I get. So that's my little TED Talk for today.
I love it. I love it. And you covered pretty much every scenario that could come up with the appraisal, because we all have seen them either come in short. And what do we do? Like you said, it really just depends on the real estate market. And this is where having a good lender and a good realtor would help, because we have a pulse on what's happening in the market. If it's a really heavy seller's market where there's a lot of competition for the homes, then you would probably want to set yourself in a situation where you could cover that gap if there is a gap. But if it's a market where it's balancing, or maybe perhaps a buyer's market, then that would give us a signal to negotiate with the seller to really drop down the price. And I think that once you get to that stage in the process, when we talk about this, typically we've already covered inspections, like home inspections. We've already gone through all the negotiations, the binder deposit. There's just so much more energy invested into the transaction when this comes up, where the seller might actually be more willing to work with you on the price in a situation like this, as opposed to trying to negotiate this up front. So this is really all relative to the market.
Well, and the last thing I'll say is, when you're going under contract on a home, or you're offering on a home, Angela does all this homework about what the home is worth. So she's going to pull all the comparable sales in that area for that, size home and all that good stuff. And she's going to kind of give you a heads up. Hey, listen, this house is priced at 300, but based off the comparable sales, I'm getting a value of 295, 285. So you're going to walk in with a lot of times being prepared, or at least having those stats. Now, sometimes it's out of our control. We were really firm on the value. We knew it was going to be good. And then it comes in that $5,000 low. But you have to think from the seller side, they've invested 20 days at this point, 15 days at this point. So they have to think, if I cancel this contract for that $10,000, I got to put it back on the market. I got to restart the clock. I got to get another offer. And many times, the appraisal on government loans sticks with the property. I didn't mention that. So it doesn't matter if an FHA appraisal comes in low. It does not matter. As long as you're doing another FHA buyer, that is the value you have to use. Same with VA. So that's where they're probably going to have to drop the price anyway. So for them, just eat the 10,000. So there's a lot of factors, but any questions on appraisals at all, please let me know, let Angela know. We would love to help you. And it's not as scary as it seems. I've probably gotten 2 low appraisals in the last 7 months, and I've done, dozens and dozens of transactions. So don't be nervous about it, but it's just, as long as you're comfortable with the value and Angela kind of goes over that with you, we really should have no worries.
Absolutely. And if there's always solutions for all of this. So that's great. Awesome content. Thank you, Delaney.
You're welcome. And then I'm going to go over some fun stuff in Jacksonville this weekend.
Okay,
Nothing
cool.
too crazy. We got a Sharks game. I've done this many times because there's a lot of them. Indoor football, really, really fun. This is happening tomorrow at 7. I think there's one on Sunday as well. So it's at the Veterans Memorial Arena. Tickets aren't crazy, but if you haven't been, it's a really fun experience, especially for kiddos. And it's not outside, so you don't have the heat.
Oh, nice. Yes, because it's like 100 degrees outside.
Oh my gosh. I went out in the middle of the day yesterday to grab something out of my car and I was like, holy moly. So yeah, anything inside is really awesome.
This is the hottest part of the year here in Florida.
I know. You think in May, you're like, I'm dying already. And then August hits and you're like, now this is the thick of summer.
Right. This is the thick of summer we're going through for sure.
Exactly. And then we have the a king fishing tournament and a festival. So it's the 43 annual. There's food, like you know how every festival is. You have food trucks. Yeah, exactly. Food.
Yeah.
But there's a junior tournament too, and they also have a bunch of boats on display. So I'm kind of thinking like a car show. I don't know. I think that would be cool. If I would love to go inside a yacht.
Yeah, and like nice boats, like that you can walk through, like a trade show type of.
I'm assuming, and there's over 300 boats that fish this week-long event for thousands of dollars in prizes. So I'm assuming this is 21 or 21st and 22nd, probably towards the end of it, but it's off Heckscher, which makes sense. Heckscher's a beautiful drive, and so check it out. I think it would be fun, especially if you have some fishers in your life.
That's amazing.
Then the last one is actually a fun one. So Yellow Card, if you are a millennial, Ocean Avenue it says it's the 20-year, reunion or, anniversary. So Ocean Avenue by Yellow Card came out in 2003 and I've never felt older in my life. So
come on.
I know. I was like, oh my gosh. So Yellow Card is playing. It is, let me see, Daly's Place, the 22nd. Does it have a time on here? And
10 a.m.
That's when tickets go on sale, but it doesn't have a time. But it also has Mayday Parade, which in my emo stage in middle school I liked. So
oh, nice.
Yep. So fun event. And it's a little bit nostalgic. So those are my events for today.
Well, that sounds like a great weekend. Lots of cool stuff to get into here in Jacksonville. So if you're listening to us from out of town, just remember there are a lot of great things about living here in Florida and here in Jacksonville. So we try to give you a little bit of a taste of what you could enjoy just for fun, in terms of the lifestyle. So that's our show for today, guys. So I hope that you enjoy this. Please share this with anyone that could benefit from it. And until next time, please remember to be kind to one another. And obviously, we will see you guys on our next video. Take care. Bye. We do the official send off here. Show. My internet is really lagging today.
It was on there.
Was it? Okay. Let me see. Very good.